Friends of the SAP Analytics Cloud, welcome to another video about our beloved analytic platform. My name is Safi Hacking. I'm working for Interdubs, and you can also find me at hackingsap.com. So in today's video, I want to have a look at a relatively new tool in SAC. It's called Just Ask. You might have seen or heard in the past 2 years a lot about artificial intelligence, AI. Well, SAP is putting this AI in all of its cloud solutions, so the SAC probably couldn't be left behind here, which is a good thing, of course. It's gonna help us tremendously in our work. And the first initial release is this Just Ask. People that have worked with SAC for a longer time might also have worked with a tool called Search to Insight, which has kind of the same purpose or use case. So the idea of Just Ask is that you can use natural language to query and investigate your data sets. So it's a simple search bar where you can put in a question, show me the sales for the past year or something. And then the tool should give us an answer, which we can further analyze or put in an SAC story, for example. So we have seen this tool in the past with a different name. According to SAP, there are a lot of changes in the tooling underwater. So for example, we have now a more advanced LLM, large language model. We can use custom synonyms, and we have a few other settings around index models that we can tweak, which I'm gonna show you. So maybe let's first go back into SAC and show you how to enable this feature. You have to go to the administration option. And then here at default appearance, if you scroll down, you can switch to Just Ask. And then the Search to Insight option will be replaced with the new Just Ask feature. And Just Ask is available from everywhere in the tool. So you can be in a story or just here at the homepage or wherever. And you get this overlay on top of what you were doing with the Just Ask interface. So let's have a look what we can do here. So I can select models that I want to search on. So for example, I'm going to use just a very simple sample model that is installed on all the SAC instances, the best run use sample model. And I can, for example, ask a question like, show me the sales per product. Well, let's see what happens. It shows me a very busy bar chart with a lot of values. So this is not really something I'd like to see now. So I'm going to add in a table behind it. Okay, that it does understand. So it's now showing me some kind of a table here. Personally, I don't like this report styling that they are using here by default. I also don't see any options to change it to a different kind of layout. I do have the option here to bring in the dimension headers and also show all the member names. Yeah, so for some reason it's giving me gross margin instead of sales. Let's make this a bit more explicit. If I click here on the plus, then it shows me the available fields in this model. So instead of sales, I'm going to use quantity sold per product in the table. Yeah, so unfortunately I lose now my show height settings that I just put in. That's kind of annoying, but it now does understand, of course, that I'm looking for this quantity sold. And it's also showing me the results here per product. This one has a hierarchy, so that's why we see these nodes here, like this. Let's do something else. Per product over time. Okay, now it turns this into a line chart. That's nice. So there is also an option here to switch between the chart and the table by just clicking, which is of course easier than asking it. We have here an option to analyze the data in the data analyzer, which opens a new screen, new window. And we get all the available fields, measures and dimensions. I can also add other measures, for example, and throw out the product and put in sales manager, for example. Something like this. And put some filters here. Okay, let's go back to just ask. So for some reason it says that copying this table is not supported. If I use the chart, then I can copy the table. Then I can copy the chart, and you can paste that in a story that you're building. Here we can see the filters that are applied and the drill levels. And we can also do an export of the data into CSV. So this is all done on the fly. There's a new option here in Just Ask, comparing this to Search to Insight, where we can manage models and we can do some indexing and some tweaking on the models. So if I now use the same model here, samples, best reduce, I get some more options here. So it's now doing an indexing of this model. So this overview lists all the fields that we have in the model, all the dimensions and the measures. I can also make a description here in this model shows our sales for our juice division. I don't know. Something like this. I can see the individual members for each dimension. Like this. And what's interesting is that we also have a column here called synonyms. So what I could do, for example, I could add my own synonyms here to this value. In this case, Diet Coke. Well, here in Holland, we also call this Cola Light. Or Coke Zero. Save. And to be honest, it actually surprises me that I have to do something like this. I would expect a large language model to help the user to provide synonyms. Actually, even on the fly when asking the question, then I would expect an LLM to figure out by itself what I'm aiming at. But okay, let's see what else we can do here. We can also see and adjust the metadata of these dimensions and measures. So for example, if I click quantity sold, I can create a description. I don't know, something like this. Save. And also here I can come up with synonyms. Let's add volume here as well. Save. And then we have a tab called data. Well, I don't see any options to change this. So let's go back. So I'm not sure if I now have to manually sync each time I make a change, but yeah, to be sure, let's click on sync model and redo the indexing. We have a tab called explore data. So we probably can see some data from the model here. Then there is a tab called rules. So let's see what that is about. If I add a rule, well, let's say I always want to show the location and the sales manager together. So if any of these dimensions is selected, I want to show them both. So the result should then always show me the sales manager and the location. Save. Yes, so now it gives me quantity sold by location and sales manager, respecting this rule that I always want to see both in my output. And then finally we have this log. Well, I'm not sure what to do with this. Okay, so let's go back to just ask. By the way, the managed models that we've been looking at, that's something only admins are allowed to see and allowed to edit. So you require a specific right to see this option here. An admin can also create sample questions. So you can make some sample queries here in different groupings. So let's make sure we now use the model that we just created, that we just indexed, I should say. Let's see what it does. Compare the quantities per location. Yeah, so also here we see the location plus sales manager in the output. The table as well, of course. So let's see how it works with the synonyms. So I will try this one. Give me the volume per store. Remember, we created the synonym for ordered quantity. And it is indeed showing me quantity sold while I'm asking for the volume. So that's good. Let's add a bit more for Coke Zero. Let's see what now happens. Yeah, so now something strange happens. So it does lead this query back to Diet Coke, on which we put in this the synonym for Coke Zero, Cola Light, and some other options. But for some reason, it's also using the zero to filter the geo ID for store. So if I go to the data analyzer, here we see the same filters that have been applied. So if I remove that store ID filter, then I get the actual results again. So let's see if we can make that a bit better. If I do this within quotes. Okay, so now if I make this more explicit, then it's not doing some crazy stuff with the zero in the geolocation ID. All right. So we've now looked at an acquired model, but we can also add live models. Well, at the moment, this is only possible when we are using DataSphere as a source. So no BW or no HANA. So let's use this view. So let's first look at what the available fields are here. So I have, again, products, I have sales, I have costs. So I can ask something like, give me the sales and transport cost for each product. Okay. So now it gives me this scatter plot chart. That's interesting. I was actually expecting a table here. Yeah, and again, I don't like how this table looks and how small this area is to work with this table. So I actually want to see, yeah, the measures in the columns. Maybe I can ask that as well. Show the measures in the columns of the table. Okay, service not available. Maybe my query is too complex. I don't know. Oh. Yeah, so I don't know why I don't get this formatted in a different way. Also, I cannot jump to the data analyzer for some reason because it's a SAP DataSphere source, which is strange because data analyzer does support connection to SAP DataSphere. So I'm not sure why this would not be enabled. Yeah, regarding the query, maybe I'm asking something strange or so, but there are a lot of restrictions. You can find them in the SAP help. Well, what we just did was querying a live model in DataSphere, so that's not what this first point is about. This is about the indexed acquired models. I assume this number will be higher in the future because otherwise, yeah, this is never going to fly in an enterprise environment. There are some limitations around ranking and sorting, not supported in tables at the moment. We cannot use exclude filters. And okay, here we have a lot of query limitations. I'm using the for each in my statement, so that might give some issues. This is also an important one. Comparing on more than 2 query statements is not supported at the moment. And of course, what I find a bit strange when you are using an LLM is that it only understands English and not any of the other languages. So to conclude this video, I've now played around with Just Ask for a short while. I'm not super impressed, to be honest. It looks still the same as Search to Insights. I like the options that you can tweak a bit in the models, but at the same time, it kind of defeats the purpose of the whole AI thing. Normally, I would expect the AI to help the user with this instead of the other way around, where we are guiding the tool in the right direction with all these rules and synonyms. Of course, the concept itself is nice. I'm still not convinced that this is an easier and faster way to get answers on your questions when querying your data. I think Data Analyzer is still far superior to using natural language queries. But, of course, within AI, everything goes exponentially fast, and I also expect the improvements to come in at a very short notice. So go ahead and let me know what you think about this. Have a look yourself. Let's regard this as a very first initial version. I even think SAP rushed this into the tool just to have something labeled as AI within the SAC. I'm expecting a lot more in the rest of this year and in the future. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.